Hello everybody, how's it going, and welcome back to a Supreme Ruler 2020 video. I, uh, yeah. I have been getting a ton of requests, and don't worry, I'll explain this, map as well, and why I'm England. Um, so yeah, I've been getting a lot of requests lately to do a tutorial of Supreme Ruler 2020, showing off and explaining some basic stuff, with the game and how it works. Keep in mind, I do not know everything, and I don't have any doubt that people in the comments will either be really nice and say stuff that I missed, or be assholes and be like, you suck, you missed, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, people are like that. So, yeah, um, I'm going to go in the next 2 or 3 videos, probably 2, through all the tabs here, what they mean, what they do, what they mean for you, how they can help you or not help you, as well as go through the scorecard, and I'll probably do that in the second part. And the second part as well will show you how to set up a game and what everything means there, because that's not as well explained. There is a tutorial for this game if you do own it, so you can always just go on the tutorial thing, though it is very long, kind of drawn out in my opinion. It's a good tutorial, but very long, and a lot of people don't have that time or the attention span, so to just sit there and try. So, yeah. But first things first, this is my English file. This is the biggest file and the most successful file I currently have. And basically, I have conquered a good portion of the European continent. As you can see, there has been no wars in Europe for a long time because nobody is shooting each other, and everybody has massive armies. So I'm hoping one day somebody decides to start shooting again, because that would be pretty awesome. So yeah, I've conquered a large portion of Europe, sort of moving Asian and directions into Asia, and partway into the Turkish frontier. And this is on my colors. This is not on supply. So sorry about that. I don't think I know. Do I remember how to change it? I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm not showing this off for anything more than what it is. So yeah. So that's me. I am England, and I own billions of dollars. $2 trillion economy. So pretty. It's an impressive file. I've conquered most of the U.S. Midwest, not large, but portions of the East, and I'm working my way to conquer the rest of America, so soon I will have conquered all. But anyway, let's get to the first tab, the Land tab, and they're all here in the corner. So the Land tab is fairly simple. The first thing on the Land tab, it will come down here, is complex details about whatever I'm clicking on. So if you click on this, it gives you the basic information. You can add or deplete garrisons as you please. You can also build a new complex. So if you wanted to build, let's say, instead of industrial, you could build something else. Pretty basic stuff. It shows the supply as well, and who they're loyal to, and I just took them over anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me whether they like me or not, but yeah. So yeah, you can click on that. You can click this as well, the stuff around it. So for example, there's an agricultural thing around this, so it shows the condition if it's active and what percentage and how much it costs to operate it. You can deactivate, which stops all production, but it also stops the money that you're putting into it. You can decommission the facility, recycle it, or you can build a new facility. For example, if I don't want agriculture there, I can build air defense instead, and build at current location, and then it builds it on to the complex. So yeah, pretty awesome thing. And while it's building, it shows you how many days remained, how much it's going to cost to build, and how many days. and of course its condition. You can also pause construction and cancel construction while in construction. It also shows you what the name of the place is. So if we go into a town, this is the town of Gilroy, or if we go into a major city, this is the city of San Francisco, and what's in it. So yeah, that's basically it there. You can review Treasury Department about everything, and really just says, you know, what stuff is making. And this shows the military presence in the city of San Francisco, so there's none in there, but it shows what military units are, for example, in Alameda. It shows what aircraft is currently in there, because that's what's in there. Shows the population and all that, terrain, how many garrisons are in it, basic stuff like that. And the third one is map filters, and I have map supply overlay on. So it'll show me the supply, but I haven't unpaused it. And now I have. But since I'm awesome, I supply everything that I want. So you can also, you can toggle it. I'll show you the toggles. So there's map line of sight. So where I can currently see everything because I have it on Fog of War off. Map ownership overlay. So who owns what? So it's basically like supply, just different. It doesn't show you the actual supply, it just shows you who owns what. There is map loyalty overlay, who they are currently loyal to, and still loyal to. So you can see here, this is all starting to kind of move. This is all California and stuff, but I think if we go into Europe, yeah, the loyalty shifts a little bit, not too much. But enough. So yeah, that just shows who they were loyal to in the beginning. So this is all German loyalty. They still technically are loyal to the Germans, but they don't really have a choice. So yeah, it really doesn't mean anything. There isn't really much point. I think Europe is probably a better example for all this. And then the garrisons overlay shows you where the garrisons are, where they're most intense at. And yeah, so you can see like Poland doesn't have very many. I really don't have very many up here. Moscow currently doesn't really have any. Yeah, Western Urals does, but not really. But they don't have very many towns, so. And yeah, the military of Western Siberia is pretty ridiculous. Yeah, and we're going to go back to that because it looks better. And also shows you the resources you can, in this tab. It also can show you the terrain information, so high ground, it shows you where that is. Close combat / low visibility areas. Defense terrain overlay, so what's really easily defended and what isn't. Towns are always high. Water location, so where water is, where rivers are that it's hard to cross. And grid. Honestly, grid doesn't matter that much. Unless you're building stuff close together, in which case it does. But and you can also, down here, it shows resources, so you can show where agriculture is possible to build, where fresh water is possible to be built, where timber, oil, which there isn't very much in America, apparently, coal, which again, doesn't seem to be very much here, metal ore, uranium, electrical power, and population where it is most intense, and of course, San Francisco is going to be fairly intense, and so is the LA area. And you can turn it all off by pressing the symbol there. Land development we already really went over. Just shows loyalty. So Lemoore is loyal to California still because that's who they were before I took them over. And it shows what I can build there at that facility if I really want to. Not saying it will build because I don't think there's like any oil or anything there. It's not going to build an oil facility, so it really does depend. The best thing to do for that is to right-click, build, and choose either industrial, military, urban, or transport. And I'll go over that in the second video. So the last part, transportation, really doesn't do anything. It's more information, I guess, on everything. So I have a total roads of 67,648 kilometers. Total rails, it shows me how many kilometers, what the maintenance cost for each of those is, which for rails for some reason is really low, and that's really high. I can build roads or build rails. So really not that useful unless you're looking at budgets. And we go on to Production tab. Now this one I don't understand a lot about because it is very confusing. It shows here on the first tab thing here, daily figures about everything. Minister allowed to control products. I highly recommend to keep that unlocked because it's just easier that way. I'd rather my minister do everything and I don't have to worry about it. And me just checking in on him and make sure he's not an idiot and yeah, not shoot his ass. So yeah. This just shows daily figures about everything, and I hate daily figures. I'd rather have daily figures instead of annual figures because annual figures just blows my mind completely. Um, yeah, well, big numbers there. Yeah. So it shows you the capacity of how many facilities you have building or whatever. This is making consumer products, so Walmart stuff. Shows the capacity and the current production, and you can change that over here, which I'll explain in a minute. It shows your demand and how much you're actually using. Usually, these are the same, but they can differ. Sometimes your demand can be lower than what you're actually using, and vice versa. It all really just depends on... Sometimes it's a game glitch, but it also depends on certain things. Like if I'm at war and I'm in military goods, and all of a sudden I need a spike because I'm repairing 300 units at once, the military goods demand is going to spike, but the actual use is going to stay the same for a little bit because I'm not using that right away. But, yeah. And of course it shows you how much is in stock, so I'm producing 558,000 tons, and I'm only using 375, so the rest of it goes into warehouses and stock, and then either I use it later if I need to, or I trade it off. And that's what trades is for. And I should probably mark up these, because I'm producing enough of them. Yeah, also the smart thing to do with these is always to keep the domestic price above production cost, so you actually make money. So it's generally a good thing to keep it even just above the limit. So 4% above, I'm making some profit. Yeah, it's not too bad. Now on the other side here, there's capacity, and if you click there, it's demand. So I'm going to produce 200% of demand, or you can change both. I can make nothing if I want to, or I can make 100% of it all. Usually that's the smartest thing to do. However, if trading isn't very good and you have a large stock of it anyway, you can put that down a little bit just to kind of give your economy a break. But I don't usually do this because I'm usually very militarily active, and I find if you put it down at all when you're militarily active, you're going to lose a lot of money because your country is going to need every good it can possibly get a hold of. So, yeah. And that just shows you, like when you change it, you can see it goes down and up. It shows you the estimated output of whatever capacity your demand you have, how much time your reserves can last you. So if something happens, like a country invades you and takes over a lot of your consumer facilities, and you start producing less than you need, that's how long your stock can last you to keep you self-sufficient until you can either take those facilities back or build new ones. And the sustainability right now is self-sufficient because I'm making way more than I need. In domestic sales here, you can mark up to a total of 200%. Again, I recommend keeping it kind of just above, but not too high above, otherwise you're not going to get any trades. And this is the same for everything. Everything. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And all of my stuff is marked down because I have to. I need things, and yeah. So, oil is also huge. You can see my stock is 69 trillion barrels. But actually it's 69 million billion barrels. Yeah. And my reserves only last me 6 days. That's how militarily active I am. I need so much oil for my troops, it's not even funny. But anyway, let's go to this. Again, it just stays the same on this side. Automated purchases and stuff like that if we need it or don't, or sell it, and I can bulk purchase or whatever. That's kind of confusing. I never really bothered with that, to be honest. My minister takes care of most of this. Same with the exports. My minister really does take care of most of this, so it doesn't really matter. Commodity facilities, so like this is what is making oil. If I want to make oil, this is what I have to build. Which is kind of nice because it does get kind of confusing sometimes. Consumption and usage, so again it's the same on this side. It just says you know, what I need to use to produce this. So I'm using coal power to produce oil for vehicles. And yeah, so it also shows consumption details as well. So, you know, what consumes this. So electrical power consumes it, obviously. Military, industrial, and metal ore does. And what my military uses, and civilian demand for it. World trade, again, it doesn't really matter that much, although it's nice to be a top exporter and not an importer. When you're a top exporter but not a top importer of pretty much everything, you're making a lot of money. So, yeah. Again, India doesn't produce anything, which is really weird. Well, they don't really produce enough, which is really strange because they have oil. But same with South Africa. They have a fair amount of oil. I don't know why they're not building more, but yeah. And this is world leaders on production and consumption. I'm top on all of them. Um, it's generally not good to be on top of consumption, to be honest, because then you're not trading as much. But yeah, production is good though. Since I'm top on both, it doesn't really matter that much because I'm just making so much it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. However, I am ahead of Saudi Arabia, so that's kind of hilarious because they're usually the top one for oil. It's kind of funny actually. But yeah, let's move on to research. Now this one I only partly understand, so I apologize. And I can only really give you so much about this. This is research queue, so this obviously the gray lines are loading stuff that you're researching. If we go over, it says what your required tech level, how much it's going to cost to research it, the time for development schedule and research time, public and world opinion of the project, completion bonus, what you get, and is the unit design a prerequisite? So if I want to make nuclear warheads, I have to research nuclear engineering before I can do that. And so nuclear warheads would have a prerequisite of nuclear engineering. So yeah. And of course its status, which is researching currently. And it is a prerequisite technology to future stealth fighters and BVR air defense missiles. That's things that needed to be built before I could build this. So yeah. And this is a really, really good aircraft, by the way. So yay. And of course you can set your budget for all of this. Currently I'm just kind of puttering along with it because really it's my economy's not like the greatest right now, so yeah. And over the side here it shows your tech level, what place I am in the world. I'm second. I think I'm behind Japan, but I'm not sure. Research efficiency and my research queue, so I'm researching 19 out of possible 26. This is just unresearched things, so what I haven't researched yet. Advanced tank designs. So I could basically just brutally murder everything if I had that. But warfare, transportation, science, technology, medical society, these are all things you haven't researched yet, so you can add them to your queue if you want. So if I want to add electronic warfare, and actually I don't, I want to add tank designs, I can click begin research, and it starts researching. And it's in my queue, and getting ready to research, and yeah. Pretty awesome. Military designs, so designs for certain vehicles that I can build and maintain and do things with. Light infantry too. Those are so hilarious. It's not even funny. I had an army of those and it was just really, really funny. I should try and find that file. But yeah, these are all things, you know, I can research or whatever. There's not many tank designs that are better than what I have, besides the Challenger 4, which I'm going to research now. There is a Frez tank, which is really funny, by the way. Love it. There is also the Challenger 3U. The Challenger 4 is pretty well the best tank you can get. There are Abrams tanks as well, but honestly, it's the Challenger tanks that are the best, really, in this game, I find. And there's facilities, what I have to build. And if you click on it, it shows where there's some are at. And I can build one now if I want to. So I just built one. Shouldn't have. Cancer project. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's that. This is research queue again. It's on the side. You don't really need that. And known technologies. This is what I know. This is what I have researched. So I know what I need. And, yeah. Really, it's good to have a balance of all of them. Although you can see I have a ton of warfare compared to the rest. But it's good to have an even amount of all of them. And we're going to go on to finance. I'm going to try and get all of these tabs done. And yes, it's going to be a longer video, and I apologize, but people asked for it, so here it is. I hate this. Income, finance, this is the devil. Um, so over here it says, your overall tax rate, inflation, unemployment percentages, daily income and daily expenses, and how much you're making or losing, and projected daily trade amounts and previous day trades. So you can see they're projecting a lot more than that. And total debt into the UN. I have none. I paid it all off. I recommend paying it all off too, by the way. It's much better. So this is daily social cost stuff. So this is social spending. It says on the side here what I'm putting into everything, how much money, and you can do these individually. So my infrastructure right now is really shitty. So yeah, I need it for war. Need it for war. God, but my healthcare is some of the top in the world. So, but yeah, my percent of total budget is only 26% because I was losing a lot of money with it high, and my taxes won't go any higher. Although they will. So yeah, fuck you, world. Um, so yeah, that's basically what that is. It's you can just like for example, infrastructure. I can put that up and down, so I can invest a little bit more money in it. And it says it recommended and what I'm currently actually investing in it. So yeah, and the quality rating, and I mean, it's pretty terrible actually. Um, Horrible, as a matter of fact. So yeah, that's my life. And you can do that with every single one if you really want to. So. And then there's taxes, which I just put it up to the maximum all the time because I'm a dick. You can, of course, do the same. I can bring that tax rate way down. But then I'd be making no money, so, tee-hee. So I usually just put that all up because I'm a douche until I'm self-sufficient. But I do have a file where I did have taxes down to 0% and it was still making money. So, yeah, Taxes Nation. Bonds and loans only matters if you're in the UN. I'm currently not. So... yeah, if you're in debt, you can take out a bond or a loan from the UN to get you money, but it also puts more on your debt, and I don't want debt. Also, it says your credit rating and blah, 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 blah. It's really not too important unless you actually are in trouble and want to take out bonds and loans, so, and pay off debts, which I recommend you do once your economy takes off. Income summary. Good God. It says what your income is from all your different, everything from low income, high income, corporate, blah, 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 unemployment, everything. Also domestic sales, loan and interest and foreign aid, which I have none of because I don't need it. Yeah, so that's pretty basic. Really just information. Same with this one, expense reports. So military, how much I'm spending, my preparedness for it, intelligence, only $7 million, it's funny. Production for stuff, facilities, social services, UN membership, I'm paying nothing because I don't need to. Because I'm not in the UN. Because, yeah, fuck the UN. It also says unit production, construction, and research costs and whatnot, loan repayment, spending shortfalls, missed units, and all that kind of stuff. I don't even need it because I'm not in the UN, and I don't have any payments to make. So this is a trade summary, which is, again, kind of over on the side a little bit. It shows daily production, daily maintenance, and daily domestic sales, and last day imports and exports, so I didn't import anything because I don't need to, because I'm awesome. And it shows last day trades, how much I traded of each thing. Industry goods is the most. I find that always is. That or military, I find I make the most money on, so, yeah. This is also the only one that I'm making money with electrical power. This is the only thing ever you will ever see. So, yeah. You can also show daily figures and annual figures. So this is my annual. Annually, I'm making $1.1 trillion. So, yeah. Pretty ridiculous. But, anyway. Let's move on to the state tab. This is pretty important. This is the tab I like to be on the most, if not the military tab. This shows who you're looking at. So if I'm looking at Mexico, for example, shows who the leader and everything is. I'll look at mine. My name is It's Too Big. Yep, it's too big. So it shows me my flag, what my DEFCON is at, and this is military preparedness and stuff. So DEFCON 1 is usually fully at war, but I only stay at 3 because it costs less. But that's just me. Says your leader is, what your government style is, your population, your GDP per person, so your GDPP, I think it is, or GPP, I'm not sure. Yeah, so that's how much, on average, my people make. My treasury, how much debt I'm in, my capital, and my land area. So I own 5.1 million square kilometers. And it's nice that it's in kilometers, and yeah. United Nations status, I'm not in it. My domestic approval rating, so my voters' approval, my military approval, you can, like, if that's too low, you can just take it over military if your military rating's above, I think, 80%. So it's good to have good friends in the military, that's for sure. Treaty integrity, UN approval, they hate me, and subsidy. And that's actually a lie. It's just because the UN doesn't like me, and the UN countries don't import or export my shit. So, yeah. But really, the UN only consists of about 40 or so countries now. Like, the whole world has gone to absolute shit. Yeah, Mexico's not in the UN. Although the UN can like you if you're not in it, but you can't rejoin. I never understood that. If they love you, why can't you just be like, hey, can I rejoin? But no. Whatever. Regional news. So if you're at war with somebody or you're watching somebody get at war or whatever, you can see what they've done and how it's going. The UN puts out these reports. So I made gains increased by 154,000 square kilometers when I took over another state. Says that enemy troops and who they are and where it's going and yeah. Yeah. And casualties and stuff, so 3,800 soldiers are killed or wounded in recent fighting, and I've lost some territory and blah blah blah. That's what it shows. And it shows annual projections. So my immigration is 403,000 people. Emigration is 2.5 million because people hate me. And my births are 7 million and deaths is 3.5. So technically I'm gaining a little bit. Not much. Literacy and tourism. Tourism is crap, but my literacy rating is 100% because I'm that awesome. And conflict and support. These are all my allies. These are all my enemies. That's basically it. That's all that really matters. And you can check that of every single country. So they're allies with them and war with these guys. So it's pretty basic. Trades, again, it doesn't show anything if you click on you, but if I'm clicking on Mexico, I'm providing Mexico with free trade, embassy, and criminal extraditionism, and the Mexicans are providing the exact same. But if I'm like supplying, like, I don't know, Wyoming with military goods over a certain amount of time, so like, I don't know, 50 tons per day for 2 weeks, it'll show that until that 2 weeks runs out. And yeah, so this shows your status for UN. Basically says if you are or aren't, how much money you have to spend to be there. Standing is outraged, and I don't have to pay any of this. UN funds is negative $10 trillion, and there's 148 membered regions right now, which is actually kind of fairly low. It's kind of sad, although I'm going to take them all over, so it doesn't matter. And age schedule for me, they're not giving me anything, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, so they're giving Michigan petroleum. Yeah, so that's basically what that is. And regional overview. Really, I don't know. Oops. Yeah. No, really just doesn't really show anything useful. Religion, again, it doesn't really matter that much. I don't find why. I mean, it's nice to know, but yeah. You can see versus who, too. So, like, you know, the Mexicans have way more Roman Catholics than I do. They have way more other Christians. They have less other religions. So, it's basically information sheet. Intentions. So, yeah, this is really interesting and a good one. So you have options. So war on incursions or path around things. So if I want to path around towns and stuff, I would. Intel operations, I can send spies in, or hotspot stuff, so I can target a certain area to attack constantly until we take it. It shows their overview of Mexico. So their military is weak, their economy is average, their diplomacy is strong, and their domestic is average. And the likelihood they'll attack us is very, very high, although it really isn't, because nobody ever declares war on me. Unless I declare war on a very close ally of theirs. So if I declared war on New Mexico, they'd probably shoot me in the face. So, yeah. But the Mexicans really don't have that much of a military. I'd probably be able to take them out very quickly. But, yeah, that's basically their entire military there. I can send an airstrike in there pretty quickly and take them all out. So, yay. And I do believe that is the last one for that. So, yeah, pretty basic. Oh, there's also the last one. If you click on another country, you can declare war. It shows their justification. So if you don't want to leave the UN yet or whatever, the higher the justification, the less the UN will hate you for declaring war. And yeah, fairly basic, and you just click that twice to declare war on a country. I'm not going to click it, though, because I don't want to go to war with Mexico right now. So, yeah. But you can see here, I'm at war with Wisconsin, so... And I have a high justification, so I didn't lose much out of it. So it's fine. Intelligence. Yay. I don't understand intelligence very much. This is, I have a couple of intelligence academy stuff and space stuff, but I don't really have anything in space, I don't think. It shows expenses for satellite construction and launches, spy salaries. Intelligence total's not very high. Again, I don't really understand this all that much. It's never mattered for me. I've always just right-clicked if I wanted to do anything, if I want to create a hotspot. I find it easier than just going into this and screwing around with that. Satellite coverage, so I have one in orbit. It's covering 10% of the entire planet. Shows how much it costs to build a communication satellite. God damn. Anyway, stupid thing. There we go. So yeah, it just shows basic stuff. I can order another satellite if I want. And it shows how many are available to launch, days to build, cost, and everything like that. Very basic stuff there. Facilities, this is what you need to build. So just like everything else. And espionage, so I can choose... let's do sabotage. And I can counter intel this guy. Target country. Let's target... Let's target... the Mexicans. It's very annoying to do this. There you go. So you click that. Once you select a spy, where you want him to send, let's send him into Wisconsin for espionage. So that's where he's headed. They usually get captured very quickly, so unless you know that that's like a research facility or something like that, that's not really I don't find it can't talk. I don't find it does much unless you're doing recon. It shows you like the units in the area, so it's good for showing off military areas. So like here, for example, if you wanted to see how many troops they had there or in their capital, it's good for that. But I never use it. This one you've probably seen a lot, or a fair bit of. Military salaries. This is the military tab. This one here, defense, which is different than unit command. So it says military salaries, what's recommended, what I'm actually putting into it, how many active staff I have, and what my reserves are like. Maintenance and stuff, what they recommend, and how much I'm actually spending. What they recommend is in white, by the way. It shows unit production, how much it costs for it all, including a grand total. And DEFCON 3, my preparedness is $2 billion, I think, per year. So this is defense condition, so like I said, I can put it up to war, high, and elevated, but I can't go down to 4 or 5 because I'm still at war. So my minimum is DEFCON 3. My annual preparedness is a lot of fucking money. $733 billion. Yeah, it's a lot of fucking money. Like, a lot of money. Too much money. Spending too much money. But, yeah. So, that's what that is. And the initiative, which I hate sometimes. You can put this from none to full, and it does explain what it does. I think. Yeah. So full units will actively reserve and deploy and move and everything, and high. Actively attack and defend, recapture lost territory, and invade regions. Medium, units will retreat, increase border recon. Units will react in defensive situations. Low, they'll basically just go and repair, and that's about it. And then none, they don't do anything. And they will engage, they will fire back and resupply where they are positioned. So basically they shoot and that's it. And you can do that for air and sea. I recommend it for air and I recommend it for sea, but I recommend lower for land because it is very glitchy sometimes. But yeah. You also do unit pathing, so a path into territory is with transit and without transit, and enemy territory as well. So, and this shows how many production I have, and how many of reserves I have, and how many active deployed units of each I have. So land, air, sea, and missiles. I have a lot of missiles. And missile auto build is active currently. I can turn offensive on or off, and I can check quality as well. So yeah, pretty awesome. But yeah, that's that tab. This is the facilities for military stuff, which I'll explain in the second video. Fabrication. So this is what I'm building, and it shows on the side here where everything is. So there's one in Burchest, whatever it's called, the former capital of Romania. And it shows what I can build and design, and yeah, GMT Storm Hunters and Abrams and Challengers and just anything I want. And you can click all production. I have 90 currently producing. I have a massive military. It's ridiculous. So at any given time, I'm producing roughly 4 units anywhere on the planet. That's what I've worked it out to be. So every 2 days in game, which is about 5 or 6 or so minutes, I'm producing about 10 units of anything. So not just land. That goes for all of them. And if you want to select like Air Force, you have to go over here and click Air Force, Navy, and Missile. So yeah, that's that. And there's a queue as well. So if I wanted to build a tank, for instance, I can click on GMT Storm Hunter, and I can click Build Unit, and it adds it to my queue for the next thing for them to build. So yeah, pretty cool. Reserves and deployed units shows what land reserves I have and land deployed and what type they are. So I have a lot of tanks, a lot of infantry, recon, artillery and anti-tank, stuff like that. Transport, I don't have very many. And what's reserved currently, there's a lot of reserved artillery because I don't seem to use much artillery. But yeah, and you can toggle everything. So if I wanted to deploy all of my artillery, I could. Don't recommend it, but I could. If I wanted to deploy all my recon, I can deploy all my recon. Now they're all deployed. So yeah, pretty awesome. And global rules of engagement, I recommend just not even bothering with these, and I'll explain these when I talk about setting up a game, because it's better to explain it there, because then you don't have to mess with it again if you do it before you even start the game. So yeah, not really too much point. And finally, unit command. So I can select a certain amount of units by holding my mouse and dragging a square, and then I can select certain units. So I'm going to select these units. So it says I've selected on the side down here 31 units, and you can see the green arrow, so I can tell them to go here instead of there, and if I unpause it, they move. So they all moved. Pretty, yeah. And it shows how many units I have deployed, how many units I have reserved in total. So this is everything, land, sea, and air. And I can make battle groups, which is pretty cool, though I don't really understand how it works some of the time. So, yeah, let's click these units, and I can put them into a battle group, I do believe. No, I have no idea. Oh, wait, no, I have to go into this and do stuff. I don't know. I don't make battle groups because I can just take troops that I want anyway. So yeah, you can make battle groups if you really want to, but I really don't know how to explain it, so you have to do that yourself, unfortunately. Yeah. And missile deployment, pretty basic, so I can just be like auto-deploy single, auto-deploy missile group, and it just goes to my nearest enemy, which currently would either be Wisconsin, Brazil, or the Chinese. Yeah, the Chinese. And somehow Inner Mongolia still exists. Don't ask me how. However, I think they have peace, but I'm not sure. Who is Manchuria enemies with? South Korea? Yeah, they're enemies with South Korea. They're just not engaging in anything, which is weird. South Korea would kick their ass in 2 seconds, though, so whatever. But anyway, that is it for this video. Next video, I'll explain game setup and stuff like that, and the right-clicking and what that means. Yeah. So I hope that this helped some of you, at least. I still recommend, if you can sit through it, the game's official tutorial, because this really is just a quick overview, and that's all it's meant to be. It's just very basic understanding. So a lot of you are going to be like, I didn't understand. You talked too quickly over stuff. You forgot this. It's like, yeah, wanted to show basic stuff, and if you really want to get into it and get more advanced, you can do that yourself, knowing most of the basic stuff. So yeah, you can have fun doing that yourself. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.